Pleasure to welcome you to the CODATA India hands-on workshop on liberation, extraction, and fair reuse of data, focusing on biodiversity. I am speaking today not only as the workshop coordinator, but because Dr. Mohanty at the last minute had an emergency in the family. He will not be joining us, and he called me just now to take over his part of the speech also. So I'm speaking to you on behalf of CODATA India National Committee as well, as our chair, Dr. Mohanty, is, as I said, unable to join us. He sends his warm greetings and strong support for this event. CODATA, as many of you know, is the Committee on Data of the International Science Council, and its central mission, the central mission of CODATA, is to advance data stewardship, interoperability, and the responsible reuse of data across disciplines. This workshop is a direct reflection of that mandate and that mission, bringing fair data principles into practice. I made some notes about the origin of this workshop as well, because we've been trying for almost 2 years to come here to be here on this day together. So I'm going to briefly share how this workshop has come into being. This idea really took shape during the DeSantis Decadal Summit on Biodiversity that was held in a remote Benedictine monastery in Austria in 2025. I was representing India there, but colleagues, and there I met for the first time colleagues from PLASI, CODATA, International Data Policy Committee, Force 11, PenSoft, the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, Arcadia. Of course, I represented Semantic Climate as well. And the global biodiversity informatics community came together there to think about the next 10 years of biodiversity data utilization for the betterment of the planet. One key insight that emerged from this meeting was that we already have a vast amount of biodiversity knowledge globally, but it is not yet usable at scale. The DeSantis discussions emphasized a decadal roadmap to, number one, liberate biodiversity knowledge from literature, two, make it machine readable and interoperable, three, integrate this knowledge into the global data systems. At the center of this vision is the idea of something which again will be new for many of you, the idea of the Libroscope, a system that we enable for large-scale liberation and integration of biodiversity knowledge from publications. Tomorrow, you will hear the president of PLASI speaking about the Libroscope and how different experts around the world have come together to help in the liberation of biodiversity data. This workshop, in many ways, is India's entry point into this global effort that we are doing jointly. The core problem that we have is a central issue that I think many of you will be aware of already. And I can comment on it in my own capacity as a data scientist. I've been a data scientist for more than 20 years now. The fact remains that biodiversity knowledge is locked. It is locked in PDFs, in papers. It is locked in legacy literature. It is locked in formats that machines cannot read. And when such knowledge is locked, it is not just inaccessible, it becomes invisible. Invisible to systems, invisible to analysis, and invisible, above all, to AI. This is where I would like to maybe make a note or ask you to remember that invisibility is not neutral. The kind of invisibility we are talking about is not neutral, because a large proportion of biodiversity knowledge, particularly from countries like India and across the global south, including Latin America, remains hugely underrepresented in the global data infrastructures. This is not because the knowledge does not exist. It is because that knowledge is not yet structured, standardized, nor made operable with other existing infrastructures. So this workshop is not just about data. It is about visibility. It is about equity. It is about who gets to contribute to the global knowledge ecosystems. And we would like you to be there. Initially, when I was speaking to the Plazi coordinators who are joining us now from Brazil this week, we were thinking we could only afford to have 20 people from different parts of India joining us, students, teachers, and faculty members. Over the last 3 months, what we realized was it is very important to include more. So we at one point decided, all right, we'll have 30 delegates. And then last week, I had to call my Plazi collaborators and say, we will not have 30, we may have 40, even 50 people. And then they said, with 50, how are we going to manage the hands-on, doing things yourself? We learn by doing. And so this is going to be a major challenge for many of you. We have decided to have you and invite you and include you in this workshop. It will not be easy, but we would love for you to try everything yourself and ask us questions. We are here for all the 4 days together, and then we can start other things. We can do smaller discussions in smaller groups with smaller organizations, individual one-on-one discussions to take this whole effort further. At the same time, India is right now, many of you are well aware, we are undergoing a major transformation in how we think about data. We are building a huge digital public infrastructure in India. India is one of the leading countries in the world with already existing major digital public infrastructures. All of us use the UPI. Many of us are aware of so many different platforms. Digi Yatra, those of you who have traveled at all. There are national missions around AI in this country and systems that are open and interactive, interoperable. But there is still a critical question. Where is biodiversity in all of this digital transformation? If we can build identity systems, financial infrastructures, and digital governance platforms, then we must also build AI-ready, open biodiversity knowledge systems. And importantly, these systems must be sustainable and inclusive, because data systems are not just technical. As you know and I know, they are institutional and they are societal. This is exactly what this workshop is trying to do. And so it is my pleasure to re-emphasize and validate that the next 4 days, each person, each delegate will have a will move through a thorough full pipeline where you will understand how biodiversity knowledge is structured in literature, B, extract it from publications or learn how to extract it from publications, C, convert it into machine readable formats, D, make it FAIR, F-A-I-R, used to stand a decade ago for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Now in 2025, 2026, the meaning of FAIR, FAIR, has become fully AI ready. You will not have your data and your knowledge fully AI ready if it is not already findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. And most importantly, this workshop, and therefore we have invited as many people as we could, but beyond this number, the people in this room, it will be very difficult to expand it further. This workshop is about a change in mindset, our mindset as well as your mindset. From reading knowledge, convert that, don't just read knowledge, structure it and reuse that knowledge. And that is what we want you to learn and go back with after this, these 4 days. We are also integrating a lot of AI-based knowledge extraction approaches. So Plazi is bringing to us the GBIF-related large global biodiversity data frames and data sets. And we in Semantic and NIPGR are bringing together integration with AI-based knowledge and extraction approaches, such as the Semantic Climate Toolkit, which is developed right here at the National Institute of Plant Genome Research with young interns who have always been working us for short term. So we have a lot of young interns today with us on our team, and we also have had young, masters and undergrad students, postgrad students joining us for 6-month internships annually every year at NIPGR from Jan to June. You will get to meet these interns over the current 4 days. Now, the important thing is, above all, of course, I'm indebted to these interns and my team in the lab, because without structure, AI cannot work, and without AI, we cannot scale. This is where semantics, biodiversity, and AI together converge. I would also like to highlight the importance of this effort from an education perspective, because it was one very major issue with us that we wanted to talk to and bring in faculty members teaching or involved in biodiversity informatics around the country. And I'm very pleased to say that I have a lot of friends here who are faculty members from different universities who have joined us today. I especially am indebted to all of you. There are also many of our participants who are students as well as early career researchers. Under the National Education Policy, we are now moving towards interdisciplinary learning, data-driven education, and hands-on training. This workshop checklist and tick marks each one of these checkboxes and is a direct example of the vision that the National Education Policy has. It brings together biology, data science, AI, and knowledge systems into one applied learning environment. Through collaborations like the one we have pulled together for this workshop, we can strengthen biodiversity informatics education in India. We can develop reusable teaching tools for India, and we can build curriculum-ready workflows which hopefully our universities and educational institutions can adapt or adopt jointly in collaboration with us as well as PLASI. This workshop represents, of course, one of the first structured engagements of PLASI in India. So I'm really grateful to my PLASI collaborators and colleagues to have joined us despite the conflict in geopolitical turmoil in the world. The way you were able to, despite multiple cancellations, and still be able to be with us today in this room. We are extremely grateful to both of you, Felipe and Julia. But this is not about learning, it's about building capacity in India and the Global South, contributing to the existing global systems and strengthening international collaborations. I especially call out in the end to all participants joining us today, you have to think beyond this workshop. You have to ask questions like, can my knowledge be reused? Can this be made visible? Can I contribute beyond my scientific research publications to something more societal and to the public? Because this is the shift we need in your mindset. If we get this right, we are not just extracting data. We are building knowledge infrastructures, we are making biodiversity science visible, and we are creating a more equitable global system. Data is not just a resource. You will hear a lot of people telling you that data is the new oil. Data is not the new oil because oil gets used and uske baad it's gone. Data can be reused again and again and again. Therefore, it is even more, it's renewable. It's a renewable source of knowledge. And so we are building knowledge infrastructures, making biodiversity visible and creating, as I said, an equitable space. Biodiversity knowledge must become part of the global infrastructure, which is renewable. And in doing so, India has the opportunity not just to participate, but to lead. And that is where each one of you as teachers, students, and researchers has a very important role to play. We must make our